Hours dragged by as Hunter and Sukhoi chatted about this and that. Half conversations, arguments, references to things I couldn't piece together. It's bad enough hearing one side of a conversation. It's worse still being the bystander of a conversational implosion. The tension in the air never subsided after Hunter's rebuttal, and eventually, when he stood to leave and asked for me to follow him, I didn't hesitate to go. I did, however, catch Sukhoi's wounded expression as he watched me go with Hunter. He pulled on his raincoat and walked with me across the platform to his guest tent. "What do you think about the job I do?" he asked. "It's cool. I mean, if it wasn't for you and the other police rangers, all of us would be, well, a long time ago," I mumbled uncomfortably. The moment someone like Hunter asked me to come outside with him, to be a part of real talk, man talk, I blushed like a virgin and started to bleat like a lamb. "You think highly of it? Well then, if people think highly of it," Hunter grinned, "I guess there's no point in listening to the defeatists among us. Your stepfather is being a coward, that's all. But he's really a brave man. Back when there was still something of a Russian military, back to those first days underground, I remember officers telling him to give you over to civilians. Follow proper military procedure, you know? Do you know how insubordination was punished back then, Artyon? Regardless, Sukhoi held you close in one arm, held his rifle in the other, and said, 'From my cold, dead hands.' Yes, a brave man. In any case, he was once. Something horrific is happening here, Artyon. Something different. Your stepfather is right about that. These aren't just the normal mutants that drag men into the dark. These aren't goblins or vandals. This is something new. Something meaner. There is a chill in the air. There is death in the air. I have only been here a few days, and I can already feel that fear has penetrated exhibition. These dark ones, the more you know about them, the more you study them, the more you think about them, the stronger the fear. Take you, for example. Have you seen them? Only once so far. I only just started working the Northern Patrol, though, I confessed. But, to be honest, once was enough. I have been tortured by nightmares ever since. Nightmares, you say? You too? Hunter frowned. Yes, it doesn't look like a coincidence. And if I stay here longer, maybe a couple of months, maybe start going on northern patrols, there's a chance I'll go sour too. No, Artyon, your stepfather is mistaken. It isn't him speaking. It isn't his thinking. It's them thinking for him. It's them speaking for him. Give up, they say. Resistance is futile. And he is their mouthpiece. But Sukhoi probably doesn't know this himself. They must tune in on you, impress themselves on your psyche. Fiends. Tell me, Artyon. Hunter turned to me straight on, and I felt his very soul focus in on me. Do you have a secret? Something you wouldn't tell anyone at the exhibition, but something you could tell a passerby, perhaps. Well, I hesitated, and for a perceptive person, that would have been enough to know that such a secret existed. Good. I have a secret too. A secret I want to share with someone, but I want to make sure they won't blab. So here's what. You tell me yours, and I'll tell you mine. And it better be serious too. You won't like what I'll do to you if you waste my time with some crap about a girl you played finger fun with when you were out mushroom picking. This is serious, Artyon. Do you understand? I wavered. Curiosity had me, but I was hesitant about giving my secret to a man who not only led a life of adventure, but who would also seem to be a cold-blooded murderer. What if he reacted badly to my childhood foolishness? Would he consider me an accessory to the incursion of the Dark Ones? Hunter looked in my eyes reassuringly. You have nothing to be afraid of in me. I guarantee inviolability. And he winked reassuringly. I took in a long breath, thinking again about unloading my secret after all these years, and then, in one breath, I hurriedly told the whole tale of my journey to the botanical gardens. When I finished, Hunter was silent for a time, digesting what he had heard. Then finally, he spoke in a hoarse voice. Well, generally speaking, you should be killed for doing something like that, from a disciplinary point of view. However, I already guaranteed you inviolability. Regardless, in light of your age and the general brainlessness of that event, and the fact that it happened so long ago, you are pardoned. Then, as if seeing my blood turning to ice before his eyes, Hunter winked again reassuringly. But know that nobody here would let you live if they found out. So you have given me a powerful weapon against yourself. So now, listen to my secret. And whilst I was regretting my big mouth, Hunter continued. I have not come all the way across the metro for Sukhoi's tea. I have come with a task. Danger should be eliminated, as you have probably heard many times today. Should and will be eliminated. I do that. Sukhoi is afraid of it. With each day his resolve weakens and he becomes more their instrument. And in time, the same will happen to me, if I stay. But if what you just told me is true about your little expedition, then that means that they are coming from the botanical gardens. Something has been growing there. Something has been born there. Something not right. But beyond the 700th meter, the greatest government of the metro, Artyon. Darkness. I intend to plunge into that darkness, make my way to the botanical gardens, and put an end to this new corruption. But the devil knows all. The devil listens. The dark ones might be spying through the weaker ones here at the exhibition. So you must tell no one I intend to do this. Tell Sukhoi I asked about conditions at the station and nothing else. You don't have to explain anything, right? If everything goes smoothly, I'll explain myself afterward. But it might be that... He stopped short for a second. If I don't come back, someone will need to return to Polis and tell Miller about these fiends in your northern tunnels. But the others have worm-eaten brains. The Dark Ones have swallowed their reason. I need someone who can still reason. I need you, Artyon.
Me? What can I do?
Listen to me. If I don't come back by Monday morning, you must take this to a man named Miller in Polis.
Hunter pulled a necklace from his polo, from which hung a distinct metal tag with an inscription that I couldn't decipher.
This will prove that I sent you. Tell him the whole story. The whole story. You must do this at any cost.
Hunter tapped the pendant once with a finger.
If I don't come back.
Decades of life underground, in the darkness, interspersed with patches of dull red light, makes you lose a true sense of day and night. At night, the lights of the station were a little weaker, as they were on the trains of long ago, so that people could sleep. But the lights never went out completely, except in the case of an accident. Though it had become aggravated by years of living in darkness, human eyesight had become nonetheless comparable to the other creatures that roamed the dark tunnels and numerous pitch-black passages. The division of day and night had probably come about by force of habit, rather than by necessity. Night made sense because everyone who inhabited the station was comfortable with the idea of everyone sleeping at the same time, letting the cattle rest, turning down the lights, and imposing restrictions on noise. The inhabitants of the station could tell the time by referring to the two large station clocks that hung over the tunnels, one over either side. These clocks were considered to be as important as strategic objects like the water filters or the ammo store or the electric generator. They were always looked after, and the smallest problems with them were immediately dealt with. Anyone foolish enough to even tamper with them was to be punished very strictly, sometimes even exiled from exhibition altogether. Here, there was a criminal code by which exhibition judged criminals with quick trials, and it was always being applied to extraordinary situations, which would be resolved, and then new rules would be established. Any actions against strategic objects brought about the most serious of punishments. For smoking in the setting of fires on platforms, as well as the careless handling of weapons and explosives, the punishment was exile, and your property would be confiscated. These draconian measures were explained by the fact that several stations had already been burned to nothing thanks to unregulated starting of fires. In the metro, fires spread quickly through the makeshift tent cities, devouring everything. The agonizing screams of children would ring in the neighboring stations for months afterwards. Charred bodies stuck to the melted canvas, gnashed teeth that poked out of cooked gore, these sights would burn into the unfortunate eyes of traders who stumbled upon this traveller's hell. To avoid nightmares of this sort, almost the whole metro had agreed to treat the careless setting of fires as a serious criminal offence. Labour was compulsory, and everyone, young and old, had to fill a daily quota. The pig farm, the mushroom plantation, the tea factory, the barricade. Every inhabitant worked in one or two of these places. Everything was so meticulous. Exhibition had a reputation for being so well managed, like a well-oiled machine, that some, even in the golden station of Polis, had considered moving to the northernmost station. But it was rare that Exhibition accepted new residents. That was, once the fear of the Dark Ones had begun to fill their dreams. Days came and went, and Hunter did not return. It wouldn't be easy to leave Exhibition and travel to Polis, but I had given my word. I had heard that a tea caravan was heading to Riga and needed guards. Was I qualified? Probably not, but I had a bastard gun and experience at the barricade, and thinking that that would suffice, I signed on for the ride. The morning I left, I slinked out of the tent, bag over my shoulder, but I was stopped by the quiet voice of Sukhoi. "What's all this? Are you planning a picnic at the barricade?" He laughed nervously. "No, I heard that there were some folks heading up to Riga to sell tea. I thought I might go along, help them where I can." "Help them sell tea?" Sukhoi raised an eyebrow. No, I mean to act as a guard for them, you know? Pump bullets into anything that seeks to fuck with them between here and Riga." Sukhoi waggled a disapproving finger. "Language, Artyon." "Sorry, Uncle Sasha," I flushed. But Sukhoi seemed to twinge and pull his arms close to his chest. "Don't..." He paused. "Don't what?" I asked. But Sukhoi collected himself and sighed off his thought. "So, Riga. That place is a bit of a shithole. Take care while you're there." "Language, Uncle Sasha." But Sukhoi grinned. "Ha! You see, I am allowed to swear. You not so much." It was heartwarming to see Sukhoi smile, even just a bit, and I found myself joining him. "Careful, old man. Your laws are full of double standards." "Why, of course they are, Artyon. I am but a dictator whose rule is fickle at best." Laughter filled the space between us until I watched his face darken again. "Artyon," he said with an almost plea in his voice, I want you to..." But again, Sukhoi remembered his way of hiding his pain from me and defaulted to, "Come straight back from Riga. I want you to help me with some mushrooms this week." He sat with arms close, looking as though he was cradling himself. The lie on my tongue made my heart sink as I smiled at him sadly and said, "I promise I'll be home soon." G'day guys, I hope you enjoyed that story and thank you so much for giving it a listen. Remember, if you want some more scary stories, you can go to the Scary Stories for Late Nights playlist. Duskbowl has been a fantastic project to work on, and remember, if you've got any fanfic or fan art or any just questions about the series, feel free to email me at duskbowl.fm@gmail.com. I love every single one of you, and you've made being a microtuber probably one of the best experiences of my life. I want to give special thanks to my patrons, of course, being Lady Nevermore, Skulk Queen, Catherine Gordon, The Curator, and Stephen Stevens. If you see them in the comments, please say g'day. And to all of you, I bid you logs of love and shit shippers.